there, you wayward sinner. Do you like blood, violence, and depravity of a sexual nature?
An important message before starting this video. I did not like what's been released of Hazbin Hotel so far. I do not like Hell of a Boss, and I don't particularly like the creator, Vivian Medrano, as a person. If you're the kind of fan that cannot handle anything negative being said about something you like, or that feels the need to harass anyone that disagrees with them, then I'd advise clicking off now and not engaging in such immature behavior. If you are the kind of hater that thinks it's okay to harass Vivzy Pop, the fanbase, or anyone associated with making this show just because you don't like it, your behavior is equally immature, and I am not advocating for you either. If you like watching critical reviews, you've come to the right place. I'm going to be discussing the major aspects I found flawed in this series, in a way where each topic can be discussed thoroughly in its own video. Today's topic is... Hazbin Hotel. A series that, when its name is spoken, will give the most polarizing responses. Fans tend to be overzealous and treat it like it's perfect, while others will act like you just said the most heinous slur just by saying its name. Funnily enough, I wouldn't say I hate the show. Those familiar with my Sandy movie review will know that I think that hating most media is a waste of energy. If you hear me say hate, I most likely mean greatly dislike or greatly annoyed by. With that being said, don't expect me to praise this show. I found it not only obnoxious and poorly written, but also surprisingly boring. But we'll get to why I feel that way. Right now, at the beginning of this review series, I found it fitting to start with my gripes with the way the show handles its two main characters, Charlie and... Vaggie. I am not a fan of that name.
Welcome to the Hazbin Hotel, founded by Lucifer's delusional daughter, Charlotte Morningstar.
So here's our main character of the series, Charlie Morningstar. The story borrows from Jewish and Mesopotamian mythology to make her the daughter of Lilith, the first human woman according to those cultures. Her father, Lucifer, I don't believe needs any introduction. Being the princess of hell, Charlie has a great love for her people and believes that their souls have the capacity for not only goodness, but redemption and the ability to ascend to heaven. To allow her vision to come to life, she created the Happy Hotel, later renamed the Hazbin Hotel, hence the title. The Hazbin Hotel is a place where sinners who desire rehabilitation can stay and participate in activities that may help them improve themselves and redeem their past sins. Personality-wise, it's clear that the writers borrow inspiration from a good number of Disney princesses. She's kind-hearted, optimistic, and has a strong motivation to see her dream come to life, even though she can also be a bit childish and naive. All of these elements make for a fine main character. Sure, they can be a bit generic, but they are used so often for a good reason. It's a reliable way to make your character likable and have strong morals, while also making them endearing. However, all of these character traits can only work as well as they are executed. Simply having them isn't enough. Are they executed well in this show? Well, let's go through this episode by episode, shall we? The first episode starts with an exposition dump, so let me cover the most relevant parts. After being cast into hell, with its population starting to rise soon thereafter, Lilith became a powerful, inspiring figure for everyone there. Meanwhile, Lucifer withdrew himself, feeling ashamed. In order to keep hell from gaining too much power, heaven sends down an army of exterminating angels to murder sinners once a year. Lilith's will, love of music, and passion for her people are the main source of Charlie's inspirations in pursuing her dream. This rings true even in the present day of the story, despite the fact that Lilith has mysteriously been gone for 7 years, and Lucifer is at least attempting to be a part of her life.
Don't worry, Mom. I'll make you proud.
I want you to keep this in mind for later. At the beginning of the episode, Charlie's father managed to pull some strings to get her access to the Heaven Embassy to pitch her idea of sinner rehabilitation. Despite the fact that this is only the first episode and no, I gotta stay focused. We're here to critique the characters, not the pacing. From this point, we get Charlie's big I Want song. This should come as no surprise to those familiar with Disney main character tropes, especially with princesses. At the beginning of a story, the lead feels so strongly about their will to accomplish their dream that they burst into a passionate song about it. She sings about her desires to hear the stories of the damned and to prove to heaven that they are souls worthy of having a chance at redemption. A compassionate cause for sure, but one that she needs to be able to support. She shows up to the meeting at the Heaven Embassy to speak to Adam, And the screen time that should be shared by the two of them is taken up by Adam being an unfunny, unlikable douchebag. Yes, that Adam, as in the first man created by God, this is supposed to be him.
Call me Dickmaster.
Charlie continues to let this guy yap during all of these scenes until she finally gets a chance to explain herself. In response, we get a whole song from Adam that goes like, I don't agree with your logic, you suck, oh yeah, by the way, the next extermination is happening in 6 months instead of a year, okay, bye.
Wait, can you... Oh, shit!
A whole episode later, and Charlie barely gets anything to do as the main character. But it's okay, it's only the first episode, and it's normal for a character to experience struggle. So let's move on to episode 2. This episode starts with barely featuring Charlie until around halfway through. Yeah, the show decides that it actually wants to focus on the V's, 3 brand new characters that are somewhat related to the main cast. It especially focuses on Vox and his rivalry with Alistair. I have many opinions on Alistair, but now's not the time to talk about him. I'll get to you, you red-haired bastard! The story focuses on them to the point where it gives us an entire musical sequence dedicated to them. Say what you want about this being world-building, and the entire show doesn't need to revolve around her constantly, but it's telling that the story wants to step away from Charlie this early on. Speaking of which, what was she up to during this sequence? She was, of course, trying to recruit people to her hotel and failing miserably. What are her shortcomings when it comes to recruiting guests, and what does it say about her character? I don't know. And the story neither knows nor gives enough of a fuck to try to explain it, because it's already pushing that aside in favor of the Vivzy Pop special. Twinks with sharp teeth. But not all hope is lost, because we get the first guest of the hotel, Sir Pentious, a harebrained inventor who was seen earlier in the episode having beef with Alistair. He's now here seeking reformation, and we get the perfect opportunity to showcase the Hazbin Hotel. You know, the thing the show is named after. Not only that, but we'll get to see the way Charlie approaches rehabilitation and her ambition to redeem souls. It's the first real chance for her to shine, and how her motivations play into the themes of the narrative. Now that the first soul has entered her establishment, how does she aim to put him on the right path? Well, first she tells Pentious to apologize for attacking Alistair. Not bad. Then she makes everyone sit in a circle to play some kindergarten name-clapping game.
Despite my stupid egg boys, I think I'm very skilled. This is stupid.
Then she writes a play where Angel Dust plays a crack addict trying to get Pentious into drugs. And he says no.
I'm off to not have sexual intercourse before marriage!
Wait, isn't he supposed to be like a child here? And Charlie sees all of this as progress.
At this rate, you'll be redeemed in no time.
Hey, quick question. What did any of that have to do with rehabilitating his sins? No, seriously, she doesn't even ask why he's in hell in the first place. Therefore, she hasn't the slightest idea on how to even attempt to fix the wrong he's done in his life. This is beyond a slight naivete. Her character is already coming across as if she has the mentality of a child. I know our story has pretty much just begun, but this is a pretty unfortunate look for her already. Anyway, Pentious is caught being a spy for the V's, and Vox says this.
Do us a favor. If they don't kill you, go ahead and do it yourself.
Then Pentious is like, I guess you're going to kill me now. And Charlie's like, hey, remember how you said sorry earlier? Just do that again, and we can actually start redeeming you. And he's like, oh, haha, yeah, I remember that. And all's well that ends well.
I hated that song!
Another episode over, and Charlie was once again pushed aside in favor of characters like Vox and this fucker. Even Angel Dust gets a scene that peeks into his character. The time that Charlie does get on screen is spent proving that she has no idea what she's doing. She has this grand dream, but her understanding of not only other sinners, but other living beings in general is so shallow. With that being said, this could be potential for character growth later on. Think of Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender. His pacifist nature prevents him from desiring to kill Fire Lord Ozai, even though many believe the only way he could be stopped is by being killed. Despite the odds being against him, Aang finds a new way that defeats Ozai for good while not ending his life. His moral conviction was so powerful that it allowed him to forge a new path of success, even though he was naive about it at the start. Charlie actually having little idea of how to redeem someone can be a major flaw that, once she realizes it, can put her beliefs to the test. It was kind of her to give Penchis a second chance after all. All we need are some moments that really push her to her limit, and maybe a character to call her out on her behavior, and we're all set. After all, we're only 2 episodes in, and I'm saying this as if I don't already know how the season ends up. I'm going to pivot my focus a bit as we start discussing episode 3. Allow me to introduce you to... Okay, you know what? No. I do not want to have to color this for the entire video. I know many other people share my sentiments that Vaggie is a terrible name not only for a character period, not only for a female character, but a female character that is attracted to women. Some of you may think that it's not that big of a deal, and it isn't, but I don't find it funny and I don't want to keep calling her that. So, my gray friend, your new name is now, Maggie. You are Maggie now, to me. Maggie is Charlie's second in command, and the one who is by her side, supporting her the most on her journey. The reason I waited until now to bring her up is because her role isn't prominent enough in the first 2 episodes to really talk about. In the first episode, she tries to film a commercial to promote the hotel, and this plotline goes nowhere because it immediately gets interrupted on TV and no important moments happen during it. In the second episode, she is on the screen sometimes. Most of her screen time can be boiled down to speaking on Charlie's behalf because Charlie can't say anything constructive, being the overall voice of reason, or generally being annoyed or confrontational. It doesn't help that her voice actress, Stephanie Beatriz, is very talented, yet constantly sounds like she's 5 seconds away from dozing off.
Okay, Angel, I need you to be less horny if possible, and Husk, can you maybe not have the script in front of your face?
But we've made it to episode 3 and she's finally given something to do. First, she tells Penchis to send away his egg minions because they're a danger to the hotel and others. Then, Charlie encourages her to step up and lead that day's trust-building exercises. Maggie is uncertain, but attempts to do so for Charlie's sake. They start with trust falls, and it's kind of stupid and goes nowhere. Then Angel suggests going to a BDSM club and it still goes nowhere. Oh, okay, she's relevant again for this scene. She throws everyone into a turf war in the hopes that they'll learn to work together to survive. Charlie is clearly averse to this, and the problem seems to be that Maggie is being too aggressive with something that should be handled with more time and care.
Maggie, no!
This is the only way they'll learn, Charlie.
No, it's not. There are other ways. It just takes time.
Time we don't have.
But suddenly, the problem changes, and it's Maggie being like, "Oh, there's no point to me if I can't help your dream come true, Charlie. I am so sad." And the scene just ends there. Now, I'm not saying both of these issues can't coexist, but the first potential issue, one that reveals more about Maggie's character, is quickly dropped in favor of another one that revolves around Charlie. It takes away some of her character agency. Next, Maggie gets a part in the worst song of the series, where she sings, "I'll be the one to support you and your dream. I will do the thing." As if that wasn't already made clear in the previous scene, so this song adds nothing new to her character. Why do you sound like that? Did you inhale helium? The episode ends with Maggie attempting to apologize for her aggressive behavior earlier, but guess what? That means nothing because her violent trust exercise was successful in getting everyone to like each other more off-screen. So the issue of her being too harsh was actually no issue at all. She also gives Penchis back his egg minions despite the fact that they haven't proven that they won't be a physical threat to everyone like in the beginning of the episode. I don't know, this sounds kinda dumb. Charlie then tells her that they are going to figure out how to run the hotel together. Perhaps this is an indication that its approach will become a blend of Charlie's patient kindness and Maggie's discipline and force. Maybe the secret to them being able to redeem souls is them truly working together and bringing balance to... Oh. Episode 4 is an Angel Dust episode. Maggie, once again, doesn't have any more spotlight other than being the generic helpful side character, but Charlie does get a little bit of focus. She's frustrated that Angel's boss, Valentino, is keeping him away from the hotel, but despite being the Princess of Hell, yeah, remember that little tidbit? She hasn't really felt like that, has she? She doesn't like using her power because it's mean.
But that's so mean!
So Maggie talks to her like a child in order to get her to do something.
It's not mean, exactly. It's, aggressive kindness.
I could be so aggressively kind to Angel's boss that I convince him to let Angel spend more time in the hotel!
Why is she so stupid? Charlie decides to show up to Angel's job to reason with Valentino, though she opts to let them finish filming before doing so. During this, she starts talking to the crew in the middle of a scene and ends up accidentally setting the whole place on fire. During this entire scene, she babbles and apologizes endlessly. Look, I'm all for characters that are a bit spacey or clumsy, but Charlie's kind-hearted attitude has already made her look dumber by the episode. Maybe it wasn't her choice to set the place on fire, but whispering to the crew in the middle of filming? Really? Valentino takes out his frustration on Angel Dust and sends him back out there to tell her to leave. Charlie sees the way Angel's being treated and gets understandably pissed. Yeah, here's something I haven't gotten to touch on yet. We don't have any idea how powerful Charlie can be. You think, being technically half angel and daughter of the King of Hell, she could be capable of some pretty powerful stuff. The first time we see a glimpse of her transformation is during the Hell is Forever number in the first episode, which I think makes for an excellent segue into talking about this absolutely hilarious tweet. This transition is everything. Image description? Charlie looks like she's about to go off. She looks feral, like she's growling with red eyes and hair waving in a wind that she seems to be producing with her own anger. And then you watch the actual scene and she does absolutely nothing. What the fuck, Hazbin? I wanted to see Charlie go off. It looks like she's about to go off in this scene, but then Angel tells her to stop and she immediately starts crying like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. How dare I get angry that my friend is being abused?"
You know she can't do anything.
Why? No, actually, why? Not many beings in hell, reasonably, should be more powerful than its princess. What is stopping Charlie from ripping up that stupid contract and blowing up Valentino's skeleton from the inside out? Is there a legal reason she can't? Because may I remind you all that this show takes place in hell, where there shouldn't even be any laws. Charlie leaves the scene to spend the rest of the episode either making stupid activities for the hotel or crying because she feels bad. It should have been her to go after Angel Dust, not Husk. I will die on this hill. But Charlie isn't a man that likes men, and Vivziepop ships Husk and Angel together. So here we are, halfway through the show so far, and what do our two main female leads have to show for themselves? We have the main character Charlie, who acts like a child and talks to other characters like they're children, not to mention her grand idea for redemption is playing games meant for toddlers. She's already been shafted by having screen time that should have been spent developing her, hogged by other characters and stories. Not that you can't have multiple storylines and focuses in a show, but we only have so many episodes left, and she leaves much to be desired. Then we have Maggie, whose only purpose in the show is to be annoyed at everything and to support our already lackluster main character. Her desires only really revolve around what Charlie wants, so she feels more like a prop than an actual secondary lead. The two most noteworthy things these two have accomplished, respectively, are starting somewhat of a redemption for Pentious, and just being a very good friend. Yup, a real pal. They're so close they're practically cousins.
This is Vaggie. She's my girlfriend.
Oh fuck, these two are supposed to be dating? Yes, for those of you who are familiar with the show, there's a reason I've put off talking about this topic for this long. For those unfamiliar, Charlie and Maggie are dating. The main reason I didn't mention it yet is because I legitimately couldn't tell. Seriously, if you didn't follow the show since the pilot, or read any of the extra character info through live streams or what have you, These two legitimately seem more like close friends than a couple. Okay, Maggie will occasionally call Charlie something like babe or honey, or they'll hold hands or be somewhat close to each other, but the real thing that should speak for itself is their on-screen chemistry. There is none. Half the time they're together, Maggie is lecturing Charlie or groaning in frustration at something stupid she's doing. Forget friends, it feels more like Maggie is Charlie's handler or guardian. And who can forget when Charlie ignores Maggie's worries to start singing a dumb song?
But the extermination just happened. What could they want this soon after—
I can do this.
What a considerate girlfriend. So considerate that she literally despawns Maggie from the scene seconds later. Maybe she is pretty powerful after all. The closest we get to them being a couple is in episode 3, which touches on the fact that Maggie feels useless if she can't support her partner's dream, and then they promise to work together. Will we see any of that development? Spoiler, not really. Okay, conclusion for real this time. Aside from everything I've said about both characters, they're supposed to be in a romantic relationship, and at least for me, I didn't feel any of that when they were on screen. VivziePop's work has been stereotyped as being filled with men who like men, and very lackluster when it comes to women who like women. This couple is not beating those allegations. Sure, not every couple needs to be constantly together, hanging off of each other, or smooching to be established as a couple, nor do they need to talk like,
I'm so glad my awesome girlfriend is okay.
that, but I don't feel any warmth between these two, warmth that is present between even the longest lasting couples. Considering everything I've talked about so far, it would be so easy for me to say, well, sure, the show's off to a rocky start, but I think if we give them a little more time in the final 4 episodes, things will really start coming together. It would be so easy, and I'd love to say that and believe it. But I've watched the show already, and I'm familiar with the way most VivziePop stories go. I don't have much hope. Maybe I'm being pessimistic. Let's see how episode 5 starts.
I told you when you called me 5 months ago.
5 months?